Hey Mini enthusiasts, how you doing? Welcome back. So, we're in the Mayfair. I've bought it. We're just about to drive it home. I have just driven it round the corner because I didn't want to be sitting in it, setting up the camera and talking to myself in front of the guy outside the front of his house. He was a little bit sad to see it go and stood outside and sort of waved the Mini off, which is always nice, you know, shows that he enjoyed the car. So yeah, I didn't want to do that in front of his house. So we've come around the corner, but this is literally properly kind of the first drive. So I've got in, first thing obviously you notice is a great big, it almost feels like a bus size steering wheel. It's not that big to be honest, but compared to the Minis I've got, it's bigger. It's probably not much bigger than an MPI airbag steering wheel, to be fair. So good news straight away. I found £2 on the dash, so the car's already cheaper. So we paid £4,000 for the car, or £3,998, and yeah, let's just get in. Let's give it a drive, and I'll talk as we go along. So oil light goes out, battery light goes out, which is good. It's got a very low idle on it. It's probably a little bit too low to be honest, but it is as smooth as anything on idle. I mean, I've mainly owned 1275s and they're just not as smooth on idle as a 1 litre is, a 998cc. Not quite sure why that is, but yeah, the 1275s are always a little bit more lumpy on idle. So yeah, let's drive it. So first thing I get used to, it doesn't have a park, so I put it into what I thought was park just a minute ago, but it's reverse. So the later auto gearboxes from I don't know what year, let me know in the comments if you do know. I've got a feeling it was probably around about 89, 90, something like that. The auto box, they added park, and I'm not sure, they must have done some other things to the auto box as well, but this doesn't have a park. There's been no traffic along this road till you want to go, and then everyone comes along. Got changes up gear really quickly, gets up through the gears. It feels really smooth. Straight away, a few bits that annoy me. Steering wheel's not straight. Simple enough to sort out. It actually rides quite well. I mean, when I looked at the suspension on the front, the cones, I've never seen cones as worn out as they are on this, and I don't think they've ever been replaced. So they're 36-year-old suspension cones, so they looked really flat. So they're not worn out through driving, but being an auto, I think they're slightly heavier on the front, and of course it's just sat there on the cones, not being driven. So I think it's probably riding on the bump stops at the moment, but it feels all right actually, to be fair. Right, so that feels fine through the gears. Just going to try the brakes. So we'll have a light touch on the steering wheel just to see if it pulls. It's braking quite hard, that felt fine. Straight, didn't pull. Up through the gears, not the most powerful thing. Let's just try a bit of kick down, make sure that works. Bit of speed there, the kick down works. It doesn't make a huge deal of difference. Always makes me laugh, kick downs in an automatic Mini. It just gets louder and a little bit faster. It's feeling pretty good. A few rattles from the heater. It's got the older metal type heater. They do tend to rattle a little bit. Oh, we're going into walk speed now, 55 miles an hour. So the mileage is 12,056 miles total. So it was advertised as a 12,000 mile car, and it's the low 12s as well. So typically, frustratingly, sometimes when you buy a car, it'll say, you know, it's done 38,000 miles, and you get to go and see the car, it's done 38,999. But this is genuinely the low 12,000s, which is great. You know, it's not far off being an 11,000 mile car. It is weird. It does feel really tight. It does drive like a very low mileage car as well. Look at that Mini. He obviously wasn't looking, didn't wave. Quite a nice sports pack, that. So I haven't tried the radio yet. Let's give it a go.
And respite for the weather as well. 4 minutes time, wasting this 18.4.5. Gradually it sort of feels as if England are warm.
Well, the radio works. It's got a single speaker on the rear parcel shelf. The radio only has long and medium wave. And yeah, it's proper old school, the radio. I'll show you that in a bit. So it definitely isn't the fastest thing there. I mean, we're not thrashing it, but we're probably doing, there's no rev counter to look at. We're probably doing a good 3,000 RPM, maybe a little bit over 3.5, and we're only doing 60 miles an hour. 70 miles an hour, and this will be a challenge. But it gets up to speed okay. I don't think you want to be doing long motorway journeys in this. So the steering's spot on, it doesn't pull, there's no vibration. That's good. Well, I'm very pleased with how it drives. And I did not drive this car before I bid on it, so I went to see it. The guy said, do you want to run it around the block? And I said, no. Don't know why I said that. Kind of this COVID thing as well, I was worried. You know, you think, well, I don't have to drive it. I'll take the guy's word for it if he says it drives okay. It's a bit of a gamble doing that, but I'm the sort of person, obviously, I'm mechanically minded. Mechanics don't worry me, so if there is something wrong, I'll just put it right. It doesn't worry me. Obviously, first time driving it properly, just keeping an eye on the temperature gauge as well. Just above halfway. It's a warm day. It's looking okay. It is actually surprisingly nice to drive an automatic Mini. I know people don't like autos, but the auto boxes in Minis are pretty good, especially the later box. I mean, when I drove Kit, I mean, that drives beautifully, Kit does, and it's got a bit of extra oomph as well, and it's really smooth through the gears, lovely gearbox. And if you just want to go out for a nice drive, bit of a cruise, the auto box is nice. I know it hinders the value a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit later about what the plans are for the car, because I'm still not sure. I still don't know. Driving it now is like, do I convert it to manual? Doesn't feel the right thing to do. But I have maybe got in my mind that I could maybe convert it to manual, but keep all the old engine and running gear to go with the car. So if I ever sold it, you know, I could convert it back to automatic, convert it back to bog standard as it was originally, or I could maybe, if I sold it, I could give the new buyer that option of me converting it back. Avoid the potholes. So there we go, like warp speed, 70 miles an hour. It will do it, but you could just hear it's not comfortable at 70 miles an hour. 65 is good enough. Just coast down to a stop now, just make sure it goes back down through the gears okay. So I'm not sure whether I already mentioned the mirrors on here. These are not standard, these mirrors. It's got like chrome mirrors. They wouldn't have been chrome originally, they'd have been black plastic. I actually really don't like them. This one's broken as well. So this needs replacing anyway. So I think we'll just go back to the standard black mirrors, which should be easy to get hold of nowadays. You've got a really low mileage car like this, it seems a shame to be putting mileage on it, but there's no point in having it and not using it. I think I'll just be sensible with the mileage. You know, if I don't do much in the other minis. If I do 500 to 1,000 miles a year, you know, it's still going to remain pretty low mileage. And I'll probably just, you know, there's no way I'm going to be taking this to shows up in Scotland or doing the IMM in Europe in it. You know, this will go to local shows. Really, just because it's not the sort of car to be driving up and down the motorways. It is amazing. No two minis drive the same. They really don't. Everyone is different. Now I know nowadays people customise them a lot and add their own touches, but I've driven minis with these type of seats in before and the seats have felt awful, but they feel really comfortable in this. The seat is not in the furthest back position, it's in the middle hole of the seat adjusters. I'd usually struggle with that, but actually legroom's not too bad. It's quite an upright driving position compared to Project Sprout or PL. So we're nearly home now. Let's get outside the car and I can start showing you around. Right then, so here it is. Let's do a bit of a walk round. Usually this is horrible when you pull the rubbers back on a Mini because you just get a load of crunchy rust coming off. Look at that. I mean, there's a tiny little bit of it's literally surface rust there. It's nothing at all, it just wants a bit of treatment on it. That's just where looks like a clip's been in the past, probably hold the carpet in place. But look at that. That is phenomenal. 36-year-old car. 36-year-old Mini. They don't make them like they used to, do they? Now here we go, look at this. Passenger side. Look at that floor.